So what's going on guys, Kate's here and welcome back to a brand new video. For today I will show you Destiny 2 class guide in 2024. This game in general has huge amount of fun and overpowered classes and subclasses to play, and we have a very unique variety to choose from. But the big question is, which classes are actually good for the specific activities that you want to do? So I've done a bunch of testing, and as you'll spend a lot of time building and developing your character in Destiny 2, so it is a really good choice to try to understand the nuance of each subclass and much more. So if this sounds interesting to you, then let's get right into it. Destiny 2 has overall 3 main classes called Warlock, Titan and Hunter, and each one of these classes have more variants called subclasses. Your character can easily swap between 5 elemental subclasses, although each character class utilizes the elements quite differently. Arc emphasizes electricity, Solar harnesses the power of the heat, Void leverages the dark energy and gravitation, Stasis is all about the power of the cold, and Strand manipulates the environment. Their unique abilities are designed for distinct playstyles, which players can adjust and amplify with subclass modifiers. It is also worth noting that while there are important differences between each class, they are not fundamentally different. So no matter what class and subclass you choose, you're always pretty mobile and can switch between damage and support abilities, depending on what type of activity you want to do. So then moving over to the first class, and it is the Warlock. Warlocks are versatile characters with balanced playstyles. This class abilities are relatively straightforward, compared to those of Titan or Hunter, with the option to choose between a healing rift and an empowering rift, which strengthens the damage dealt by anyone in it. The Warlock's class abilities highlights both offensive and defensive gameplay. This makes the Warlock class a good choice for players focusing mainly on PvE content. Warlocks are often at their strongest when buffing their teammates. Their jump is arguably the most difficult to get used to, as they generally glide slowly over the battlefield. While the super ability changes significantly depending on the subclass, Warlock supers are generally about casting or throwing an elemental effect. So if I would need to describe this class in few words, then they are basically some sort of space mages. The main Warlock class has 5 subclasses called the Dawnblade, Voidwalker, Stormcaller, the Shadebinder and the Broodweaver. The Dawnblade subclass is an excellent choice for newer players because of its straightforward and easy to learn Daybreak super ability, and the Veil of Radiance ability, which is also a powerful group ability that can be deployed to deal massive damage to a single target. One of his best aspects is the Heat Rises, which will allow you to fire weapons, melee and throw grenades while gliding. This class is outfitted with an array of abilities that encourage players to engage their targets from the sky. Then the second subclass is the Stormcaller. He will give you powerful abilities that can inflict large amounts of damage on the enemy hordes in PvE. Stormcaller's super ability will chain a lightning that electrifies enemies, and you will be able to cast a channeled beam of arc energy. Overall, the Stormcaller is mostly used for AoE damage playstyle. Then the next one is the Voidwalker. This subclass, by using the Void Souls and Devour buff, will give you the ability to steal health from the enemies. However, a player can instead choose to optimize grenades for maximum damage. When combined with effective perks, additional grenade damage can be contributed to a melee ability regeneration. Overall, the Voidwalker is able to use the life force of their victims to fuel explosive power, and with his powerful abilities, he can create a widespread destruction on the enemy forces. Then for one of the last subclasses, we have the Shadebinder. This Warlock Stasis subclass is challenging to perfect for newer players, but it is very useful against larger enemy groups. His strongest super ability is the Winter's Wrath, that summon a Stasis Staff, which will cast a Stasis Shards that freeze the target. Then afterwards you can trigger a shockwave to shatter all the frozen targets and much more. Overall, the Shadebinder is not a very popular subclass, as it takes a lot of time grinding to perfect most builds, but I have seen it used at the most challenging content. And then for the last and final subclass, we have the Broodweaver. This subclass uses the power of the wave to manipulate Threadlings, which are spider-like entities that you can summon and control. Your best ability is the Needle Storm, which will launch strand-based missiles at the enemies, detonating them and spawning thread needles, which will attack your enemies. So overall, the Broodweaver class is your typical summoner player that focuses most of his damage and abilities on spawning minions that will protect you and fight by your side. So then moving over to the second main class, and it is the Titan. The Titan sacrifice agility and dexterity in favor of strength and defense. For a class ability, Titans can pick between the Towering Barricade, which is a tall, see-through wall that protects all guardians behind it, or you can choose a Rally Barricade, which will last a shorter time but increase weapon reload speed, stability, and range while behind it. As a result, Titans make good team players for coordinated PvP and PvE activities. The Titan's movement can be a little tricky to get used to, as it's effectively a jet-powered glide, rather than a traditional jump or double jump. The Titan is also great if you're trying to solo content, as they're not only durable but can create their own cover, which will help you to survive much longer. The main Titan class has 5 subclasses called the Sentinel, Striker, Sunbreaker, Behemoth, and Berserker. The first subclass is the Sunbreaker. This one will give you a Hammer of a Soul ability that is powerful for both PvE and PvP, because you will be able to summon a throwable hammer that shatters into the molten shards on impact and does massive amounts of damage. And then you will get the second super ability called the Burning Maul, and this will summon a flaming maul and crush your enemies with the force of an earthquake. Players can either spin the maul around them or slam them into the ground. Overall, the Sunbreaker is a perfect choice for players that enjoy and want to play in both PvP and PvE with the same character. Then the next one is the Striker. This subclass gets a Fist of Havoc, which is a powerful super ability that is good for both offense and defense. You will be able to use the supercharged electric ground slam. Then you will activate the grenade button to quickly charge forward with an attack, or the melee button to slam fist in the ground to deal massive amounts of AoE damage. Or then we can even use the Thunder Crash ability, which will hurtle through the air to inflict damage like a missile. Overall, the Striker is the perfect choice for players that want to be tanky but very strong at the same time. You mostly won't do the highest damage possible, but you will get that perfect balance between damage and armor. Then for the third subclass, we have the Sentinel. This one mainly focuses on the Titan's defensive abilities. Players can upgrade the Titan's overshield perks with fragments for even more strength. Your Ward of Dawn ability will create an indestructible dome that also provides a temporary increase in weapon damage, or then you get to use the Sentinel Shield ability, which will give you a Void Light Shield with options to attack, defend, throw, and create a defensive wall that grants increased weapon damage to allies when shooting through it and much more. Overall, the Sentinel is mainly made for your support/defensive oriented playstyle and builds. Then for the next subclass, we have the Behemoth. This is the most popular Titan subclass, because you will get an ability that can generate explosive damage from the stasis crystals. And on top of that, this subclass is also incredibly effective in close range fights. Your aspect will give you longer and more powerful slides, while at the same time enabling you to charge melee energy, freeze targets, and slam enemies on the ground. So if you want to play the most meta Titan subclass, then this is the one for you. And then finally we have the Berserker. This subclass is all about untamed power, with the Titan using the Fist of the Unleashed Fury. Your most powerful super ability is the Blade Fury, which will summon a stasis gauntlet that the player can slam for a shockwave that freezes the target, or you can use it as a light attack option that the player can subcharge their Shiver Strike melee for massive damage. Plus you can sprint through the stasis crystals or froze the target, which will shatter them, and much more. Overall, this is another powerful subclass, which playstyle is more focused on subcharging and using fists for massive melee damage. So then for the last and final main class, we have the Hunter. Hunters are tacticians, snipers, and lone wolves. Their kits emphasize movement and stealth, and while that emphasis can be useful in team environments, it's mostly self-serving. Although they reap benefits such as dodging abilities and invisibility, they require more precision and timing in execution. The Hunter class suits serious players who can execute more complex mechanics, especially in PvP content. The Hunter class ability is a dodge move, which you can pick either Gambler's Dodge, which can replenish your melee, or Marksman's Dodge, which can reload your currently equipped weapon. The Hunter can equip any of the several ultimate abilities, depending on which subclass they pick, but their main use is dishing out massive amounts of damage. The Hunter probably has the highest skill ceiling in Destiny 2, because it's also the hardest to learn, and the least forgiving when you make a mistake. There's also a small mercy in that the Hunter's jump ability is a classic double jump, so it's easy to use if you played other shooting games. The main hunter class has 5 subclasses called the Arcstrider, Gunslinger, Nightstalker, Revenant and the Threadrunner. The first subclass is the Gunslinger, which is the most popular for PvP content because of the golden guns ability that will quickly wipe an entire enemy team, although some people prefer the sharp volley of a blade barrage. Golden gun ability will shoot a rapid fire pistol that disintegrates targets causing ignition, and while the super ability is active, you will receive back a golden gun round. Overall, the Gunslinger is amazing PvP subclass with high damage and very good dodge and movement abilities for shoot and run type of playstyle. Then the next one is the Arcstrider. This subclass will wield the Arc Staff. Its effectiveness depends on the player's ability to pull off strong combos and stay mobile. Arc Energy Staff will give you the ability to use acrobatic melee combos, and you will get a chance to deflect incoming projectiles, while your Gathering Storm super ability will throw an Arc Staff forwards, lodging it into the surfaces and jolting nearby targets. Overall, the Arcstrider is a fun class that main focus is on combos and the Arc Staff ability. Then the third subclass is the Nightstalker. This one specializes in invisibility, which the player can also grant to their allies. My favorite ability is the Shadow Shoot Deathfall, which will tether a large group of enemies to avoid anchor, which will slow and silence them. This skill has been very popular for hunters in PvE activities, where you can come up against large numbers of enemies. So if you want to be that stealthy / assassin type of player, then this is the class for you. Then for the next one we have the Revenant. Many players consider this subclass as too overpowered build, primarily because of its flexibility and the ability to pair well with various modifiers, from various weapons, armors and fragments. You also get the Silence and Squall super ability, which you can channel stasis shards to form Akama blades, the first one which will bounce off the enemies and freeze them, before the second one detonates on impact, creating a stasis storm. Being able to easily freeze targets and also cause a storm, paired with the ability to easily shatter stasis crystals, makes this one of the most broken PvP subclasses in the game. And then finally we have the last subclass called the Threadrunner. The Hunter Threadrunner leverages Strand by turning it into a chain-like tool that helps in movement but can also deal significant damage. Silk Strike super ability will give you the option to use a grapple to move around in third person, throwing and spinning the rope dart to harm enemies and manipulate the world around them. Your best aspect is the Ensnaggering Slam, which will press the air move input while in mid-air, causing the hunter to slam downwards to suspend all nearby enemies, and that's about it. So with that said, I really do appreciate everyone for watching guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions, feedback or other good Destiny 2 guides, builds or tier lists that you would like to see in the next video, then feel free to leave your comments in the comment section down below. And while you're doing that, please click like, subscribe and enable that notification bell, so this way you could support the channel and you won't miss any more amazing content from me. With all this said, you have an amazing day and I will see you in my next video, so take it easy, peace.